All right, guys, Jack Spirko here. We have got the old Weber dialed dead on 225 degrees and holding. And I wanted to show you what's going on here. I'm doing a smoked prime rib, but I'm not actually cooking with the smoking. I'm going to hold this temperature. You can see right here I got a plugged in thermometer monitoring things here, 57 degrees. And this has already been going about 30-45 minutes. And I've got 5 not too large roasts, about 4 pounds apiece in here. They were sent to us by Butcher Box for the spring pond building workshop. These are, God, wait till you see it. It's just beautiful what's going on under there. But what I'm doing is an offset smoke. So I've got my temperature fairly low here to one side. All my roasts are over on this side. I'll show you those in just a second. I don't want to open this any more than I have to. So I'm going to explain most of it before I open it up. But what I've got is a standard foil pan, about 9-inch foil pan full of wood chips. It's full of wood chips that are apple and hickory mixed together about equal parts. Piece of foil on top with a bunch of holes in it, a bunch of holes in the bottom of the pan because they're throwaway pan. And I got that smoke going from that side. Now I did crank the heat way up when I first put it in there before the meat went in, got a little bit of smoke going, and then dropped it down and dialed in my temperature. And that's what I love about gas grills for smoking. You can dial that sucker in and hit that 225 degrees. You figure out exactly where it needs to be. You can just hold it there. And again, I'm probably, I got an alarm set on this at 120 degrees, because if it gets that hot, I'm going to call it. It probably won't even hit that while I do this. I kind of want to cook and smoke the outside, put smoke flavor into it. What's going to happen tomorrow is I'm going to go ahead and vac seal all of these, drop them in the sous vide, and cook them for about 3 hours at 135 degrees to a perfect rare. And then we'll figure out what we do for students as to if they want it a little bit more cooked than that. I got some ideas I'll share with you later. But the herb crust on this is pretty badass. I used rosemary, coriander, thyme, onion, garlic, bay leaf, salt, pepper. I think that's everything. If I figure something out I missed, I'll put it in the video notes either down there or up there, depending on where you're watching this, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. But that's what's going on. Let's take a look now. And again, we just dialed in on that 225. So again, you can see that's what I got. I got the full pan there. It's just those disposable foil pans. And it's almost full. It's got a ton. That way it's a long smoke duration of just cheap old wood chips you buy at the store. Ton of holes in there, and you see that smoke just wafting. And you see just crusted in that herb mixture. And I've got my temp probe in this one here, the closest to the heat. And if it starts to get higher, I'll kind of move them around and keep an eye on things. Those are just ribeye roasts, about 4 pounds a piece. And, we'll cut each one into 4 pieces because we don't have that many students coming to this thing. Don't you wish you would have come now? Or are you sitting here going, gee, I messed up. I should have went to the spring pond building workshop, because this meal that we're going to do Friday night alone is going to be worth the cost of admission. This is only one piece, and we'll be catching up with you more in the future. But I wanted to talk to you while I had a chance about this, why I love actually smoking on a big old gas grill like this. And anybody can do it. Most of us have gas grills. You get precision here. Now that temperature dropped when I opened it, but that's going to go right back to 225. I figured out that one all the way to low and that one about right there is exactly where I need to be. So I can hold any temperature I want. If I was cooking a brisket or something long term and I wanted to actually get up to full temperature, I'd probably dial it up a little bit, 250 degrees. Or I could hold it at 225 for a while and then slowly bring it up. I can control everything. Now, again, I'm just kissing this with smoke, right? Because it's really going to get cooked in the sous vide. So, there is something you do need to be aware of. If you're doing this, you got a lot of grease dropping down in there if you're cooking a long cook. If I was doing that, I would pull all the reflectors out down here and put another pan underneath it to catch the majority of that grease. With what I'm doing here, all I'll do is when I call it and pull it off, I'll just crank those all up on high, leave the lid open, and burn off any of the drippings that went down there. It won't be any big deal. But if you cooked like a 20-pound brisket, you'd have like the makings of a major grease fire under there, so just be aware of that. Other than that, this is just, it's not the only way I smoke. I use my Bradley smoker, I use my sidebox smoker. Every once in a while, a little old kettle grill gets called into service over there, sometimes with a slow and sear, sometimes with another technique. But this is easy. This is just hitting the easy button, making things happen. And, maybe we'll catch up with you as we continue on with this project. But I guarantee you, there will be videos of when we serve this at the workshop in a few weeks, because if I don't post it, I bet some of the folks eating it do. Anyway, we'll catch up with you later. You got any questions, post them in the comments and I'll answer them for you. Again, if you want the recipe for the herb mix that we put on there, it will either be up in the top or down in the bottom depending on what platform you're on.